By now, every page that's in the staff area should now have the session.php included at the top and confirm logged in after it. This is my edit page, and you can see that I've done exactly that. Remember, confirmed logged in needs to come before any HTML is output because it does a redirect, or else we have to have output buffering turned on. I'll close edit.php. Here's my login page. This was your extra credit assignment. Just simply test if we're logged in, then go ahead and redirect us to the staff page. No reason for us to see the login page again. We're already logged in, so let's just bypass it. So that's a nice little user-friendly feature. Now, I went ahead and I even put that on page form. This is the partial form page that I'm including in a couple of pages. And I went ahead and required the session at the top. I required once, so there's no problem bringing it in more than once. I'm not redefining functions or anything. And then confirm logged in. And that'll just make sure that someone doesn't directly ask for that form. I did not put it on any of my includes files. And that raises a point that I want to make to you, which is that right now, all of these files are directly accessible by someone from the outside. Now, we could put some kind of a protection on them using PHP, but an even better way would be to do it on the server side when we actually deploy our application. And you need to learn a little bit more about the server you're deploying on, whether it's Apache or something else, and find out what mechanisms you can have with an htaccess file, something like that will restrict access to the files that are here. In particular, we want to make sure that no one sees this constants file, because you'll remember that constants has all of our passwords and database information in there. We might as well not have a password on a database at all if someone can see that. So I just want to point that out. We've restricted access to our application, but we haven't necessarily restricted access to everything. So just keep that in mind. I don't want you to think that you've locked down the castle when in fact you've left the back door wide open. But I think you'll find it easier to deal with those issues on the server side and not through PHP. Now, the last step that we're missing is the ability to log out. It's a real pain for us to have to go delete our cookie every time we want to simulate logging out. So let's actually create a logout. I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. We'll start from scratch. And I will save this inside, not inside includes. Let's do it here out in the main directory. There we are, Widget Corp. And it's going to just be called logout.php. So let's make sure that's saved in the right place. There it is, logout.php. Now, there are 4 steps to closing a session. First of all, we're going to want to redirect at the end of it. So let's go ahead and do a require once on our functions. Includes functions.php. So that'll bring in our functions that we already have and allow us to do a redirect. Now, as I said, there are 4 basic steps. 4 steps to closing a session, i.e. logging out. Let's look at those. Step 1 is going to be find the session, and we know how to do that. That's going to be session start. Now, I could just include my session start file, but I'm going to actually show you all the steps, so I want to go ahead and just type it by hand here. Then we have step 2, unset all the session variables. So this is going to be a good secure way to make sure that we erase the values that we set. Now, we could do these one at a time. We could use unset. We saw how to do that. But an easier way is just going to be, say, session equals an empty array. And that'll clear them all out at once. And then step 3 will be to destroy the session cookie. And we can do that by making the cookie expire. And we saw how to do that before. So let's say if the cookie is set, let's just give ourselves some error checking in case we happen to hit this page and the cookie's not there. And the cookie is going to have the session name function applied to it. That's going to return the name of the session, whatever we've set it to. Now, we saw what the default name was, but that might have been changed to something else. So we don't want to assume it. We're going to ask PHP to find out what its current session name is and get that cookie. Then, if that's true, let's set the cookie equal to, and we can once again use session name. That's going to give us the name of the cookie. And then the value will be nothing. We'll just do a pair of single quotes, comma, And then the way we set cookies, we saw earlier, was by setting a time function. That'll return the current time. And instead of doing plus a certain amount of time that we want a cookie to last, which is what we were doing with cookies before, we're going to say minus amount. And I'm just going to put in 42 with 3 zeros after it. That's going to be a long time ago. So it's from now minus that many minutes. And then last of all, I'm going to enter another option, which is just going to say at the root level. Don't worry too much about what that means. It's just going to make sure that we get the cookie. And then once we've actually set the cookie to expire, which should get their browser to expire it for us, and then the fourth step is that we're going to destroy the session. And we do that with session destroy. Now that will actually completely destroy the session variable. We've now flushed it in every possible way we can imagine. So that's 4 ways, and that way will ensure that the session is gone. And the very last thing then, we'll be able to redirect the page to, and we'll just send them back to login.php. And it would be nice if we could actually send them back with something that would give some kind of a message to login.php that we had logged out. And then it could say something like, you are now logged out. So I'm just going to send a real simple message here by saying logout equals 1. And that will then be a get value that we can pull down on our login page. Again, we're just making it a little more user-friendly. Now, we won't have a post variable if that's the case. So we can skip on down here, and where the form has not been submitted, we can put in a quick line that says if is set and get logout, and that'll get that value for us. And we'll also want to check to see not only is it set, but let's go ahead and make sure that that same value is equal to 1. That's what we're expecting it to be. So it is set and it is equal to 1. Then we'll set our message equal to you are now logged out. So that's just going to be a nice simple message to remind us. We'll come back and we'll try this out. Let's log in. Here I am. And log out. And I've already directed that to my PHP page a long time ago. So there it goes. You are now logged out. And we can try it. We can try to go to different pages like staff.php, right? And it won't let us in because we are logged out. But if we log in and we try it again, now we're logged in. And we can move around our website. We can load up pages like staff.php and they work fine. So there you have it. Those are the basics to being able to create users, to log in users, to authenticate them, to keep them authenticated, and finally to log them out and destroy the session completely so that we can know for certain that they were logged out. So now that we've covered creating users in the database, hashing passwords, logging in, confirming that someone is logged in, maintaining the fact that they're logged in, and now logging them out, we've completed user authentication, and we have a full staff area separate from the public area. And that's what we were hoping to get.